Yes, sir, baby. On the Radar Radio, yo, special guests in the building with me today. My first time seeing him since the Zoom days in the pandemic. Kota, the friend in the building, my guy.
Yo,
What's up, bro?
what's up, man? I'm chilling. I'm
Nice to
good.
finally get to
Yeah,
do
be
this in
face to
person,
face.
man.
Yeah,
It's a weird time last time that we spoke to each other on Zoom and shit like that. It was interesting.
it was a weird time, but it's a weirder time now. It's crazy times.
Why do you feel like it's weirder now?
Yo, think about it. It's like pandemic. Now it's post-pandemic. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all a test. Everybody's a test dummy right now. So
Even
feel
though
me?
like it's like post-pandemic, it's not really like
it's not even really post-pandemic. You know what
yeah.
it is? It's post. Everybody really giving a fuck about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know. So it's just like, so it's like everybody's kind of over it mentally. It's still going on, but everybody's in a different headspace. So that's why I say post-pandemic. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of like the TikTok videos where it's like the people, it was like before, March 2020, and it was just like people like spraying like their King Cullen or Pathmark
Yeah.
bags with Lysol, and then now it's like 2022. It's like, yo, get this shit in the house. Come on, we ain't got time for
That's
none of that.
facts.
That's what I feel like, because like you said, like it's like the mental thing about it. It's like even when you go out now, people be like, look, at this point, if I get it, I get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's like everybody's mentality now, which is like. It's a good and a bad thing too, you know what I'm saying? Because like you get like the flare-ups every couple months, like in December when everybody in New York had it. You gotta deal with shit like that now too. But I mean, I guess that's like the price that we pay for like trying to be back outside
I
and
mean, it
shit
is
like
what
that.
it is, bro. People been getting the flu since forever, and so like
Right.
you know, this
I
is
agree.
just another. It's literally another flu, but it's different, you know. So
Yeah.
you know, survival of the fittest. I don't know.
He
We'll,
said survival of the
we'll
fittest.
see.
Well, it's good to have you back out here. Obviously you got a couple shows when we're recording this weekend. And you know, you're telling me about like Colorado, maybe going out of the country, and then I can only just imagine like how for you being able to perform and shit like that has also just kind of been like a good feeling. Cause thinking back, like even on the Zoom stuff, it's like you had like the My Everything album out, and it's like I can't perform it nowhere. I'm stuck in the crib trying to come up with like creative ways to promote the album. But now you have a bunch of projects that have come out since then. So it's like, all right, now kind of back in the swing of performing and doing all that shit too, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got a little lazy during the pandemic, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, cause I was just chilling. You know what I'm saying? I spent a lot of time with my kid. You know,
Which isn't a
and
bad thing.
yeah, so it's just like I got so used to just, you know, kind of spending time with friends and actually doing stuff that didn't have anything to do with touring and trying to appeal to everybody and you know. So it was just I appreciate it like just as much as, you know, going on tour. And, you know, I got a little older like when I was coming out of the pandemic, when I was like 27 or something like that, when I was going into it.
Yeah.
By the time I get out of it, you know what I'm saying? I'm almost 30, you feel me? So it's just a completely different feel. It's like now I got 2 kids, you know? So
Right.
so touring isn't the same as it was in 2019. Feel me?
Right, because now you got your first kid's a little older. You got a
Got a
new
baby.
kid. You got a
Yeah.
baby. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And then now it's kind of like, all right, now I can. You know what you said that actually kind of resonated with me, where it's like not doing, like when you were talking about not doing the touring during the pandemic and being able to be home and spend time with your kid and kind of like do the things that like, you know, normal people should like do, like, you know what I'm saying, like spend time with their family, spend time with their friends, which people in the music industry, like, we don't get to do so much as an artist, as a podcasters, because we're always like working so much. And I do think the pandemic gave us those moments of kind of like, yo, open the window, hang out with the family, take that breath, because that's all we really could do at the time too.
Definitely. You know, it's just, yeah, it made you sit down with everything, you know, everything good and bad. You had to sit with yourself and figure it out. There was no escaping it. You couldn't escape and go to the club. You couldn't escape and go on a tour, you know. And yeah, you really had to sit with everything and really figure it out. So I'm grateful for the time.
Was there like one like core, I don't want to say lesson, but was there one core thing that you really took coming out of that, going back on the road, going back to, you know, being a full-time artist out here, that you like implemented into like whether it's your day-to-day routine or even like the way you go about making music and things like that now from like that pandemic time?
Yeah, I would say routine. Like having a morning routine and a nighttime routine, and just like so you can start your day off good and end it off right. You know, it's like because I really had to do that so to stay afloat mentally during the pandemic. So it was like making sure. Like in the morning, I like to listen to an audiobook or something, you know, get my mind right while I'm in the shower or something, and, you know, do the face mask thing and the skincare routine.
Right.
And so it's just like I implement that in my life. I'll do it forever, you know, because that's something I started during
What is Kota the Friend listening to audiobook wise?
What am I listening to? Oh, like one of my favorite audiobooks was Phil Knight's Shoe Dog.
Okay.
It was literally it's my favorite audiobook. But there's another book by Bell Hooks called The Will to Change.
Okay.
It's crazy. And I'm actually reading The Untethered Soul again for the second time. Great book.
Did you post all these on the book club thing page that you started?
I think I posted some of them.
Okay.
I don't know if I posted all 3.
Okay. Because I found interesting was like I feel like from the last time that we spoke, I'm like when I go on your Instagram now, you got like 4 new things that you have in like your bio that you're promoting. Obviously, the book club is one of them, which I thought was super dope. You know what I'm saying? New way to like connect with fans, and like when I was cooking, I was checking it out. I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. I don't know too many rappers who post like the books that they're reading every single day, which I thought was really I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, I just think it's cool to share with people, you know, stuff that, you know, I'm happy to have in my life. It's like when I get a blessing, I feel it's cool, like pass it on. You know what I mean? Why not share it so other people can be enlightened and we can all kind of reach that state and kind of be on that same level. The more people that are on that level, you know, I feel like the better the world will be.
Right. And you're podcasting now too. You're podding.
Yeah, I am. I'm not as consistent as everybody else, but I see it's a game. You gotta really get into it. But it's something I definitely wanna keep working on. You know.
With your podcast, what was like the idea for you to start it? Like what made you want to start your own podcast?
Yeah, well, I called the podcast Free Not Woke, and it's just so much like woke stuff out here. You know, everybody's on this woke game, and it's like a lot of groupthink going on, a lot of sheep behavior, and we just wanted to create a podcast where we really give our true perspective, you know, and it has nothing to do with what everybody else thinks, you know. It's just genuinely how we feel, because we realize we have so many conversations like behind closed doors where we really get to the bottom of stuff, and we really get enlightened by each other, and we always leave that conversation with a good feeling. So we feel like, yo, why don't we, you know, put that out to the world and show them like, yo, because everybody just wants to feel good. So we want everybody to leave the podcast thinking like, oh, that was a nice conversation. Like that was a real, authentic conversation with people who weren't trying to just appeal to this group or to that group, you know, because everybody's trying to appeal. It's like everybody wants to get the masses on their side. If the pendulum is swinging that way, that's the way we gotta go. But we're saying like, nah, that's not what we're doing.
Right, you're doing your own thing.
Yeah,
it's like when you talk about like the like, you know, like the wokeness or like the sheep mentality. I always think of just like Twitter and how Twitter can just what's the right way to say this? It's like one person says something on Twitter and then everybody's like. Just agrees with it off the rip. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it goes. Nothing has to be factual. It's just somebody say something. It's crazy that imagine you seeing something on Twitter, on social media, and you see it, and you're just like, that's true. Right. Like that's 100% true. Not something that wasn't, you know, fact checked, something that wasn't on a legitimate website. It's just like, this is the truth, and I'm gonna run with it, and I'm gonna tell 5,000 people right now, and then those 5,000 people will each tell 10 people, and then this will be, you know, it's like that's really the time we live in now, and it's mad.
Right, like I even see like with politics and shit like that, or like when somebody like not getting into politics, but like, you know, somebody could tweet some type of false information, and then all of a sudden, like next thing you know, it's like the #3 trending topic on Twitter or some shit like that, or you know, or when you deal with like some like big celebrity drama, like or like even like even when I think of like unfortunately when DMX was in the hospital and hadn't passed away yet. But then there was that one night, like I would say like a week before he actually passed away, that everybody was like, DMX died tonight. And everybody was just like, it must be true. And then everybody just ran with it. You know what I'm saying? And I think of shit like that. And that's what gets me tight, is like when people just take things without like actually fact checking it. Yeah. And they're like, all right, well, I guess, you know, whether it's a politician or the DMX thing, it's just like, I guess this is the truth now, even though DMX has not been pronounced dead by his family or by anybody who actually knows DMX, but because of some Twitter account who posts viral stories, posted it, it's like, oh, it must be true.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
Podcast, must be true. Right there.
Must be true. Did you look at
that's fire. See,
you can take that. You can take that. Must be
working. Maybe we work on that in the future.
Yeah, you know must be true.
Let's talk about it.
And like debunk shit and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, like I really liked the one thing I liked about the Memo album, bro, is like, first of all, you're like touching on a lot of stuff in there between like the interludes, your own journey of self growth, which I know you've spoken about, and then also like when I'm listening to it, like I forgot exactly which song it was, but you're talking even about like being independent still. You know what I'm saying? Still being an independent rapper, and you know, compared to like artists who were on labels and talking about your percentages, right? Which I was like, I like this side of Kota, man. I like that he's talking his shit a little bit on this because it's like let's talk about percentages. You know what I'm saying? As an independent artist, obviously your shit is like completely different than just like your you know, your artist who's signed to a label and shit like that.
Yeah, it is very different. You know, I don't know. I don't. Are we gonna talk numbers or?
No, we don't gotta actually talk numbers.
All right,
We don't
cool.
gotta let the people know. But like, what I want to get into is like, as an independent artist, still like, do you have like a bigger team around you now? Or you still? Because I remember last time we spoke, I know like a lot of it is you. Even like the way that you create your music videos too. Like I know a lot of it's mostly just you and maybe like a camera person and one other person. Like you know, are you still working and operating in that way too?
Yeah, I think my team has expanded, but it's still small. You know, it's like if you could count my people on one hand, now you can count them on two. You know what I mean? So it's like it's nothing that crazy. It's like I always like to keep my team small because you know it gets out of hand the bigger you get, and I like to take the stairs and go slow. I don't want to just straight shoot up on the elevator and everything is all over the place, and I don't know how to control it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of just pace ourselves, make sure I'm going at my own pace, and growing steadily. You know?
Right. You don't ever feel like rushed to like put shit out or like that, like, oh, I should be here right now. It's just like, you're very much just like, I'm cool with wherever I'm at, whenever I'm at.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. And that's how it's always been, you know?
Right. So you don't feel no stress, you don't feel no stress from outside pressure, no nothing.
I mean, the only pressure I would feel would come from my team, where it's just like, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that. And ultimately, it's what I have to decide what I need to do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
And then, so the interludes on the project, there was a couple of them. And one thing, so those were those actual stories from your family, or were like, what's the story behind some of those interludes?
Yeah, those are all my family members.
Okay, all your
you
family.
know?
I love the purse story. It's
The
like,
purse story.
There's nothing in the purse, but she still ran after the purse. I thought that was a great one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It was funny. That was a story about my grandma. You
Right.
know, so when she was younger, that's something that she did. She's like this 5 feet woman, but she ran after some dude that stole her purse back in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like it's a crazy story, bro.
And then the last interlude on the project. It's your pops talking about you, right? Or is it your grandfather?
It's my uncle talking about my dad.
It's your uncle talking about your dad and how your dad was like a hustler and playing cards, all this stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I like that. Cause like, I don't know, I just seeing those different perspectives on the project and seeing how like, you know, it being called Memo, I just brought it together like really nicely too. Because it's not just you telling the story. It's like you're allowing your family to also participate in the story too.
Yeah, it's our story, you know? I think that's the whole point, is like I've been given, you know, this opportunity to tell the story of my family. And so that's why I put it on my albums, like when I feel like, you know, like Photo is really close to me, and Memo is the same way. So I feel like I have to incorporate those stories because it's like this is how the story lives on, you know? It's like this is how it gets passed down from generation to generation, or the stories get lost. Like even when I was doing Photo, I remember I was hearing so many stories and I was learning so much about myself, so much about my family. My mother had never talked about my grandfather before. And so when I was recording the interviews for Photo, they were talking so much in detail about my grandfather and what he was like. I'm like, damn, I would have never heard this story if I didn't sit down with my aunts and record this. And so we really have to be the keepers of those stories. And so that's why I put it on the album, just to show people like this is where I'm from. Like I'm to kind of like contextualize everything and show people like I'm a real person. You know, I come from real people, and just like you, and just real family stuff. The same stories you got, we got. You know?
Right. Which also, like, sometimes, like, you know, I'm not saying all fans, but sometimes fans don't realize that because, like, you know, they listen to your music, they look at you as, like, someone that they look up to, as someone who they feel really close with, but not always an artist is able to, like, open up and be vulnerable, and not even just vulnerable, but let someone into themselves, let alone their family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. And even, like, the way that, you know, you talk about, like, oh, like, you know, being able to pass these stories down through generations. And I think that's the benefit of, you putting this on like the project? Because it's like, if we telling stories, those stories might go away at some point because some person might not tell the story, blah, 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 but like somebody like your kids' kids and their kids' kids can always be like, yo, go, if you want to hear some family stories, go listen to Memo real quick. You feel me? And I think that's pretty fire in and of itself.
Nah, it is. It's like music lasts forever, So.
And I wrote down one of the quotes that you said about the project. You said Memo is an album about emotional growth. It's like the end of a long journey. You can finally rest, appreciate how far you come, and build that house you can call home. Which you are a homeowner now, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this like for you too? Is this project kind of like the end of like not like an era for you, but is it like the end of like something for you, and then the beginning of something else? Do you feel that way about this one?
Yeah, I feel that way heavily. It's like it is the end of an era. I feel like it's the end of a book. I've been writing this book since I started really putting stuff on wax around like 2015. And it's just like I've been trying to tell this story, consistently. It's like you think you're there and you're not, and then you think you're there again and you're not, and you think you're there. And it's like, but I feel like now I've arrived at a place where I'm completely aware of everything around me, where it's like now I can finally, I know what it feels like to be home, and I know what it feels like to be comfortable with myself, and I know myself on a different level than I did when I started in 2015.
Right.
And everything that I was looking for in, your other people and friendships and relationships. I was looking for in traveling and new adventures and touring and trying to escape all my problems here and there. And I found what I was looking for in myself, It's just like just coming back home. So that's what Memo was really about, like the long journey back home. It's like you finally stop looking outward and you finally look inward, and then you find that's where your peace is. So that's the end of the journey. Once you do that, now you can start living. So I feel like whatever's next is gonna be completely different because it's like coming from a here and now perspective. It's like I'm present in the moment. So it's gonna be completely different.
So like you're saying basically like whatever comes after Memo is gonna be like this is a whole new Kota.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. I don't know what's next.
Right.
But I just know it ain't gonna be the same. That's over. That's dead.
Yeah, because if like even having another kid or having the house or being bi-coastal now too, which is it's funny because I remember like I think. When we first met, I was like, you got like that really like West Coast New York sound to you, and like we were laughing about it. So like kind of reflecting on that to like looking at now where you're like, yeah, I got a crib on the West Coast. I'm like, of course you have a crib on the, of course. Why wouldn't you have a crib on the West Coast at this point?
Yeah.
It only makes sense now.
Yeah, I always wanted that. Like I've been wanting to go to California since I was a kid, and I never really had the opportunity. So I always said that I would get a house in Cali by the beach, and that's exactly what I did.
Oh, right on the beach.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You could walk there, or it's like your beach.
I could walk there, bro.
Okay, it's not your back. The beach isn't your backyard.
It's not my backyard, but I could walk. Yeah.
Oh man, that must be beautiful. And it reminds like the Kill the Sunrise, like I think of like the album cover. And I'm like, this is that's like literally. I don't know if you had the crib at that point, but I'm like, I imagine that's like Kota like on his way.
Yeah, I didn't have it yet, but I manifested that shit.
You did. And I love, like, honestly, like, everybody who's come through who had, like, a project with Static, like, I gotta say, like, Static has killed every single one of these projects that he's done, like, the past, like, year and a half, 2 years that I, like, well, I mean, he always kills his project, but I mean, like, with guests that I've had here, like, every single one has been incredible. And I love what y'all two did. Like, I felt like y'all really created magic on that project, too.
We did. I feel like that project is super overlooked, It's like, but a lot of music is, a lot of music is overlooked by, the masses of people. But the stuff that was like the production and the lyrics on that project, crazy.
Because I think that was one of the ones I think your cousin sent me like an advanced link of. And I remember I listened to it. I'm like, yo, bro, this shit is incredible, man. Like, this shit is so fire. Like, I ran it was a SoundCloud link, and I ran it back a couple times. I'm like, I hope they don't think I just started passing this link out to people, because I was just like, I think it was still pretty pandemic time, and I was still in the crib. So I was just like, shit, I got this album. I really like it. I'm just gonna, and it's not out yet, so I'm gonna just keep playing it. But why do you personally feel like it was overlooked? Just cause, or?
Nah, it just was at the time. It's just, there's a lot of music coming out. If you look, I don't think it's anything personal. It's just that there's always so much music. It's like a lot of stuff gets lost, and if it's not your moment in particular, then it's hard for it to be seen. Some people just have their moment where it's just like, yo, that's the shit everybody's listening to and tuned into. So I feel like it's a luck thing, but at the same time, you know, labels put a whole bunch of money behind it and a whole bunch of marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we was really just working on some independent shit. You know, we was just doing what we do. So, you know, I'm not stressed. I'm glad whoever listened to it, I'm happy that it got to, you know, I'm grateful for that.
Right, right. And
so,
you always have that core fan base. Like you've always had like that core fan base who always gonna fuck with you too.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw you tweet about like the vinyls that you were just printing or whatnot. I'm like, and I appreciate artists who still do vinyls. Cause I'm like, that's just something like special. Like I think that the art of the physical copy is just like not entirely been lost, but I like how the vinyl stuff is still kind of around, especially for artists like yourself who have like that core fan base who really appreciates that type of vinyl. Like I think about you, like Marlon Craft, who does his vinyls and shit like that. Like I love seeing that because it's just a different type of appreciation that you get with the music too.
Yeah. Nah, it's something that you could hold. You know, it means something. It's like we live in a digital world, but I think we're learning more and more how much that physical copy means, you know?
Right.
To actually hold something in your hands is becoming a rarity. So the fact that we can actually do that and you can actually make vinyls and they're expensive as hell to make and to create, but it's like it's worth it in the end. I'm happy when I look at my Lauryn Hill Miseducation vinyl.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's mine. I have this copy, you know? It's not just like a digital copy on the internet that could be lost at any time. You know, you don't know what's gonna happen. Shit happens every day. The world is, you know,
still turning.
Yeah.
You know, I think I wanted to ask you this too. Like when the project first came out and I was looking at the track list, I was like, why he got a record on here called Soho House?
Yeah.
Like I saw that, I was like, that's the one thing I want to ask Kota about. Is like why he got a record called Soho House on it? Because I just thought it was like before listening to the song, I just thought it was funny. I was like, why would he name this song this? What is this song about?
Yeah, it's just Soho House is like, I think I called it Soho House because I'm lazy when it comes to making reservations. So Soho House is always the spot that I could go to. I know there's a spot for me. You know, I know there's a place for me. It's the place where I could bring a date. I could bring my homies. I could bring my family. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just a chill spot. And yeah, so it's like one of my favorite spots to be at. You know, last minute. You know,
Soho House is your date spot?
Yeah, it's my date.
That's your date spot?
Not even. Nah, don't do that.
Nah, because let's be honest, we all have that date spot.
Chill. It's not just my date spot, all right? It's the spot for everything. You know what I mean?
Bring your kids there too?
Whatever. I do bring my kids on Sundays. You know, on Sundays they do the buffet. You know what I'm saying? I bring the kids.
You right, no, listen, you right.
I know what I'm talking about. Calm down.
But yeah, no, I loved the project, and I think you know it was extremely special, and like you know closing that door and kind of welcoming this new era of what you're about to create. And even though you haven't really started creating what's the next part of this area, because we're still focusing on like the touring shit right now, right?
Right.
I wanted to ask you too. I wrote this down. What is this? FLTBYS. What is that? What is this? What does that mean? Because I know you're promoting that on your IG too.
It means Flight Boys.
Flight Boys. Okay.
Yeah, it's something. It's a brand that I created when I was like 15 years old. I was in high school, and we basically just used to do concerts, like showcases in Brooklyn, you know, like all over Brooklyn. And yeah, it's just we were doing this from young. Like it was pretty much the only opportunity for kids to get on stage and kind of do their thing. And yeah, so it was all about just putting people on stage that didn't have any opportunity to get on stage otherwise, and rap, sing, dance, whatever, you know.
Are you still working on stuff for Flight Boys then? Or?
Yeah, we still do. We did this concert, this showcase series called Flight Night.
Okay.
And so we still do Flight Night to this day, you know? So like over 10 years in the making, you still, you know, going hard with it. And we actually want to bring it to outdoors and do outdoor festivals, like legit, like 5,000, 7,000 cap, and, you know, see where it goes from there.
That's fire. And it's for upcoming artists too, or like how can people kind of like tap in with it? Like what's the best way if somebody wants to perform and shit, if that's a thing?
Nah, we scout artists.
Okay, you scout artists. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
so we go to every city. We find like 5 artists or 5, 6 artists. We put them on the show that we do in that city, and low key we're really scouting and we're really seeing who's out there. So we're kind of like A&Ring and seeing who we like, and we want to do something big real soon. So that's something that's in the works.
Fire! I can't wait to see that. I know. I'm probably summertime next year. I feel like, right?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope. Well, look, man, it's been a pleasure having you here. It's nice finally get to see you in person. Congratulations on everything. Congratulations on the house,
Thank you,
the
thank
new
you.
baby, the
Thank
new
you.
project, the new era of your life. You look at peace. You look happy. So that makes me happy, and I'm very happy for you, bro.
Yo, thank you, bro. Got nothing to complain about. You know, I'm glad to see you again. You feel me? Never saw you in person, obviously.
Right, all
Fuck the
these years.
pandemic, you know. But we here, we live in real life. They say IRL right now. Like that's
IRL,
what they
yeah,
say now. We in
yeah.
real life. That's crazy
what the
that's
kids
the
say.
thing, bro. It's in real life because that happened. Like we was really not in real life.
Right, we was really
So,
just on Zoom, just chilling.
yeah. So this is amazing.
And we're going to have you rap today. So by the time that this comes out, that's out. So make sure you go check that out. Let the people know they can follow you out. Anything else you want to let them know? Now's the time to do it. This camera right here.
Yo, so I'm Kota the Friend. You can find me everything, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you using now, whatever social media platforms. There's a new one, TikTok, Kota the Friend, Kota the Friend. Find me. Yeah.
Make sure you go follow him. Memo out now. Go show him love. Go show him support. All those things are free. Go check out the freestyle. Go check out everything he has out now. And until next time, it's on the radar, baby. Kota the Friend, my guy. Appreciate you,
Peace.
bro. Love.
Appreciate you, bro.
Boom.